Hello everyone, my name is Jeremiah Plaskett with Byteworks, and I'm happy to welcome you to today's video collaboration blog from Byteworks. This is our March of 2026 edition of our video collaboration blog. I'm coming to you today from our Byteworks Bits and Bytes podcast studio. So if you've tuned in before and you're familiar with Byteworks, you know what our Lightboard studio is. It's where we can do cool things like this. Of course, I grab a marker that's almost dead. But we've got this instructional podcast room that allows us to do cool things like this. This is a better marker, less dead. And so we like to deliver not only awesome podcasts in this room, but informational webinars, video blogs, training sessions, you name it. This is in our headquarters here in the Atlanta area. We do have folks come and use our room to record their podcasts. So if you're interested in that at all, please let us know, or to use our Lightboard for instructional purposes. It's a really cool thing. And we're quite proud of it because we've got it integrated with the latest, greatest collaboration technologies. So today, what I'm going to be talking about in the March edition of the collaboration video blog from Byteworks is we're going to be talking about the new 9800 series Cisco IP phones that you can use with on-premises Cisco Call Manager, and you can use it with cloud calling, Webex calling. All right. These are the newest, latest, greatest phones from Cisco. They have been out for a while, over maybe a year, maybe closer to 2 years. Don't quote me on the exact timing of that. These phones, they have recently, however, released two new additions to these phones, the 9811 IP phone and the 9821 IP phone. So I'm going to be talking about that, but I'm going to be talking about the whole lineup of these phones and why you even want to know this and why it's even important. First off, let me just remind or let you know for the first time who we are, if you don't already know. I'm assuming automatically that a lot of you are tuning in and again, but some of you may be first-time listeners to myself and to Byteworks. Byteworks is an information technology consulting firm located in the Atlanta area. We focus on data center, on enterprise networking, on cybersecurity, and on collaboration, which is my baby. I am a collaboration engineer, head of our collaboration unit here at Byteworks, and very, very passionate about collaboration technologies in general. So that's who Byteworks is, and we all the time are supporting, implementing collaboration systems, whether those be phone systems for calling purposes, whether they be on-premise phone systems, whether they be cloud phone systems, or whether they be collaboration technologies beyond just calling with phone systems. Maybe they're collaboration technologies like meetings. Right now, I am recording this in our Webex room that we have configured here with our Webex equipment in conjunction with our studio and some other things we've added. But we are a partner of Cisco, and we sell and implement a lot of Cisco Webex solutions. And so that's one example of some of the collaboration technologies. There's other collaboration workloads that we help with. I've now talked about calling and meetings, but there's also webinars, there's events, there's messaging. So anything under the collaboration umbrella, we at Byteworks can help you or your company with. And we are not all just one vendor either. We are very obviously and partners with and believe in Cisco's products, but we also support Microsoft Teams environments. We support Zoom environments. We support Ring Central environments. We support all sorts of collaboration environments and are very experienced in those environments. So that's a little bit about Byteworks and our expertise. Now let's switch back to the point of this particular video blog, which is the 9800 series phones, which I have some physical 9800 series phones that I'm going to go through. I'm going to start with kind of an overview and history, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty on the details. Let me apologize for the format of this video blog. It's very informal. I do have notes I'll be referencing, but this isn't a scripted, super edited, super polished video blog. This is just meant to be straight from us to you, easy to consume. And we talk about different collaboration topics each month that are near and dear to our customers. and the issues and topics that we support and help them on. So previously, Cisco had, prior to the 9800 series, was the 8800 series phones. And then prior to that, they had a couple different model lines. They had 6800 series, they had 7800 series. The series of Cisco IP phones that are very famous, I wish I had one right here with me, but I didn't bring one into this room, are the 7900 series phones. The 7900 series phones really is what Cisco started with right after they acquired Celsius Ethernet phone back in 99 or 2000, somewhere around that time frame, late 90s, early 2000s. Cisco released their first IP phone, the Cisco 7900 series. Those phones were rugged, durable, just high quality. They could take a beating. I've personally deployed those types of phones over in the Middle East and war theater type of zones, so they could fall off the back of a Humvee and still be intact and still work. They were just a great model of phones, and they had insane market saturation. So you'll still see Cisco 7900 phones still kicking and rolling in many, many environments out there. So those phones are near and dear to my heart for obvious reasons. They were just really good phones. You also would see those Cisco phones like on a lot of like television and media. You might be watching 24 and you'd see the Cisco phone with the Cisco phone ringtone. That really helped popularize and get those phones to take off in the business sector, seeing those types of phones on TV, on your favorite TV shows. So the 9800 series is the newest iteration of that legacy and that history of making really high quality desk phones. The 8800 series was introduced in 2013. It's reliable, but it is aging. The key differences between that line, and I think this is important because one of the cool things about the 9800 series is it's based all off of PhoneOS. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that now. So the previous 8800 series, it had, multiple firmware loads, enterprise for on-premises CUCM, and then the MPP or multi-platform phone for the cloud. It did have some limited workspace features and no native AI or unified management. The 9800 series models, like the 9841, the 51, the 6171, I'm going to show you all. I've got 3 different phones here with me today. I've got the 41, which is right here. I've got the 51 and the 61. This is the 51 over here. I'm going to talk about a couple of these key feature differences, and hopefully everyone can see these phones okay through the camera. And then right here, I've got a 61. I'm going to talk about that. All right. So they all run the same phone OS, and the phone OS can register to either Call Manager 12.5 plus or 14 plus, 15, etc., and Webex calling with no firmware swap required, just the factory reset to switch platforms. That's a big deal. Like if you've dealt with these phones and trying to transition them from cloud to on-premises, having that unified phone OS is a big deal to make that transition a bit more seamless. All right. The one device and one OS supporting on-prem and cloud and BroadWorks and others natively, it allows IT to be able to deploy the same phone model everywhere and migrate users between on-prem and cloud with minimal effort and no per platform hardware and firmware variants. Like I said, that's huge. That really helps from an IT administrative standpoint. It truly helps from going on-prem to cloud, all those things. It helps for faster feature velocity and unified admin experience in the Webex Control Hub, which is this consistent OS experience for Room OS devices. You can do bulk moves, changes, and troubleshooting. All that becomes dramatically simpler with the 9800s over the 8800 split firmware pass. Okay. So it's definitely an operational win for hybrid and involving deployments and environments out there. You get that consistent user experience across desk and meeting room devices. That's so important. I'm in a meeting room device right here. In this particular room, I'm on a Webex system, but we've got to integrate with other things too. But if you walk into any type of room where you've put in Cisco audio, whether you're a Microsoft Teams MTR environment that's using Cisco MTR devices, or your Webex environment that's using Webex as your meetings platform, you want a consistent experience from your desk to those rooms. And that really is delivered with the phone OS allowing you to have that same UI and user experience at your desk that you experience in these conference rooms. Before, when you were on the traditional MPP firmware or traditional Cisco enterprise firmware for phones, that experience on your physical desk phones and on video devices when you walk into a room was inconsistent. They were different. There were different OSs operating them, so that led to an inconsistent experience. Okay. Another cool thing about, or good compelling reason why you want these new 9800 phones, is they provide AI powered audio that solves real world hybrid work problems. Okay. You've got the AI background noise removal on the send side on 9841 models, receive on 9861 and 71, plus the narrowband to wideband audio enhancement on the 61s and 71s. This is a game changer in those noisy, open office environments, far beyond what a traditional 8800 phone can do as far as audio capabilities and noise suppression. So these phones in those environments where you have hot desking, okay, I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute, or a true hybrid work environment. And what do I mean by hybrid work? You've heard me say that. Hybrid work is kind of where we are in a lot of work environments post-COVID, post-pandemic. Hybrid is where people in offices are making their real estate. They're trying to make it more of a magnet and not a mandate. You may have heard that expression, to where you're wanting people to come back to the office, but you no longer have it where you're tied to the office before, where you have a dedicated cube and dedicated office space and all the huge investment by companies in office space. It's transitioned because so many people are hybrid now, where maybe you're only coming in the office a day or two a week or 3 days a week. Don't get me wrong. There's still some people that need 5 days a week, full on 8 to 5, return to work. There's many companies that's enforcing that, let me say, but there's still a lot of companies that have gone and taken this hybrid approach, where the office is a place where you can go have your conference meeting, hop in a huddle room, hop in a conference room, hop in a shared space for a desk, shared cubicle, use the facility for the hour or two that you need it, and hit the road. So that's kind of what hot desking is. Hot desking is huge. The built-in hot desking and desk reservation and workspace intelligence, super critical. Another big thing to these phones is the larger speaker driver plus bass enhancing enclosure for more natural sound. This is true on both CUCM and Webex. So it's just going to be a superior audio experience over the 8800 series. The hot desk only mode is license free on Webex calling, which is pretty awesome. It's a QR based, web based sign in, no Webex app required on your mobile. You get the LED availability indicators. I'm going to show those in a minute on the phone, letting you know if it's in use or ready. You get the native Cisco Spaces integration for reservations. If you wanted to do that, you could set up Cisco Spaces and go in and reserve a room on a touch screen and reserve a hot desk phone. When I say room, I'm referring to a room or cubicle, desk phone, etc. You can reserve those right through the screen on Cisco Spaces. All right, so I've said 4 things now, going through my notes, of why the 9800 series is worth upgrading over the 8800 series. I've mentioned the unified platform, consistent OS, mentioned the consistent user experience across desk and video room devices. I've mentioned that the AI powered audio and the audio advantages overall on these new model phones. I've mentioned the built-in hot desking and desk reservation, basically workspace intelligence. The 5th one is the easier deployment and management and the lower total cost of ownership. One of the cool things about these is that they have NFC capabilities. So NFC allows for zero touch provisioning. NFC, near field communications. It's going to be hard to see it on the camera, but you can even see a little indicator icon for the NFC. It looks like kind of like a wireless SSID icon, except it's pointing to the right. That is for near field communications. So you could have a device and, as an administrator, just walk up to a phone, use NFC, could instantly provision it. So it's pretty cool how that works. Now, the other thing that it does is it supports, up under that 5th bullet point, which is the easier deployment management and lower TCO, is it's got ThousandEyes endpoint agent capabilities, integration capabilities. Now, ThousandEyes is, and that's for the more premium models. So the higher end 98 50, 61, 71 models. And I'm going to go through the model differences here in a minute. But that gives you the ability to have end-to-end QoS visibility, QoS being quality of service. So by having ThousandEyes on the actual phone and integrated through the control hub, you can really drill down and find out where there are call quality issues with voice over IP in your environment. Okay. Not having that invisibility, it's a lot trickier to troubleshoot audio issues. But with that extra visibility, it becomes so easy, so much easier so than if you were running 7800 series phones or 8800 series phones with the old enterprise firmware or the MPP firmware for cloud. Without ThousandEyes, those are much harder to troubleshoot quality of service. The other thing I want to point out, and this is a big one, and I'm going to talk about it more, is the action button on these phones. The action button is this red button at the top of the phone, all right? And they're on all the models of the 9800 series phone. So as I pick up these different model phones, all of them have this red action button. That red action button is customizable for emergency alerts, paging, security, etc. So this is a new capability that the 8800s lack, and it really is a game changer. What it gives you the ability to do is imagine the various and multiple use cases. In a hospital nursing environment, pressing that red button may page a doctor or, alert medical staff to a specific issue in a specific locations because that button can be customized per phone. All right. If you're in a factory environment, manufacturing environment, and you have these phones on the manufacturing floor, those buttons may trigger 911 or may shut down equipment because there's been an accident with the equipment. So you can pre-program these buttons to do pretty much anything. So you can trigger it to call 911. You can trigger it to shut down equipment. You can trigger it to send out alerts and lighting. Imagine if you're a school environment and you're a front desk and someone comes in and is a threat to the campus somehow, and you hit that button and it does a campus lockdown, sends out alerts to social media, sends out alerts to classrooms, enables auto locks on doors, all right, enables camera systems to come on, and the possibilities are endless. Okay. So those little action buttons is what Cisco calls them. They are really kind of a game changer in so many ways because the use cases are endless and they really are so super helpful. All right. So those were all up under that easier deployment, management, and cost of ownership. The last thing I want to mention is the modern security, the sustainability, and the longevity. From a security standpoint, fully encrypted. Okay. It's hardware rooted security too. TPM 2.0, TLS 1.3, secure boot, runtime protection. These are super secure, more so than the 800s older stack. They're also very well made, but they're made very sustainably. You got 74% of post-consumer recycled plastic, Energy Star certified, deep sleep display off modes, and carbon emission reporting and control hub. You can set up all sorts of accessibility features for them to shut down after certain hours, automatically go into sleep, and really save on power consumption. They're, of course, PoE, so they're powered via the Ethernet, via switches. Super sustainable, super low maintenance, and low power draw. The new platform also means longer support horizon. The 8800 is already 10 plus years old. It's crazy to think about, right? It doesn't seem like it's that long, but it has been. And seeing in price increases and end of sale pressure. So 9800s are definitely the way to go. So now that I have given kind of a high level overview, what I want to start talking about more is the lineup in a little bit more detail and some of the specific new model phones. Okay. First off, I'm going to share my screen to show you all the phones in one glance, or as many as possible. I'm going to do that first, show you the phone lineup of 9800s, all the models. Focus for a minute on the 9821 and the 9811, which are the new models, and how those are different. Focus on the personas that you can attach to each model, and that will make more sense after I explain it in a second. And then I'll physically pick up some phones and show you some features. All right. So this is the model lineup here, the 9800 series model lineup. On the far left here, this is the 9811. This is the 9841 going left to right, the 9851, 61, 71. And then this one on the far right is called a KEM, a KEM, a key expansion module. Okay. So you can add this to other phones to increase the number of lines and keys. So let's go through that real quick. How many lines and keys are supported on each one? On this far left one, 9811, the persona for this phone is it's like a lobby / common area / low use phone. Okay. You don't want to assign this phone or issue this phone out to someone who takes a lot of calls. It supports 2 lines only and it's very basic. Okay. It does have some features like speakerphone and things like that, but it is limited and it's intended for areas that does not have a high volume of calls. So it's perfect for those open kitchen areas, open common areas, break rooms, elevators, things like that. Okay. The next one, the 9841, this is your basic user phone. Okay. It supports up to 4 lines. It's got all the features you would expect for a user phone, voicemail, speakerphone, whole conference call forwarding, all those great things. It is also a grayscale screen. I don't know if I mentioned that, but this is grayscale. The 9811 and the 9841 is grayscale. So it's not a color screen. It also has the action button on the top, as does the 9811. And I've actually got a really good matrix that's going to go through these features between models here in a second. So this will be easier in a second. The next model up is the 51, 61, and 71. Now the 51, perfect office worker phone. Think supervisors, think those office workers that deals with a high volume of calls, may have to have multiple lines, may have to support someone. You can do a lot with these particular phones. These 9851s allows you to have up to 6 lines configured on the keys. And they also allow you to add up to 1 key expansion module. All right. And of course it supports all the other features, voicemail, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have the 9861 here and the 9871. The only difference between this phone and this phone is that the 71 is touchscreen. Okay. The 61 is not. And the 71 supports up to 32 virtual lines, whereas this phone supports up to 10 physical lines. And they have physical line buttons on it. And this one does not because it's touchscreen. And I'll explain more about that in a second. Here in this image, I wanted you to see both colors. These are 2 9871s, which are the touchscreen 5-inch displays. Okay. And we've got one in the color First Light, which is this white-ish color, and then carbon black. Okay. Now, what I wanted you to see is this particular table right here, because it talks about the features on the far left column, and then each model, the 9811, 9841, 51, 61, and then the 71. Now you'll see the big differences between that. I mentioned a couple of them on the 9811's 2 lines, 41's 4 lines, 51's 6 lines, 61's 10 lines, and that 71 supports 32 lines on that touchscreen. Okay. They all support, except the 9811, all support Bluetooth. Okay. They support Wi-Fi on the 41, 51, 61, and 71, but not on the 9811. And then there you see the USB ports and the KEMs. Now let me talk about the USB support for a second. The USB ports in the 51s, 61s, and 71s can actually charge external devices like your phones, some laptops, depending upon what the requirement is. The 61 and 71 provides more power to those devices than the 51. So just wanted to point that out and the differences. Now, the 61s and 71s are more geared towards your executive office worker. The 51's more geared towards your standard office worker who doesn't need quite as many lines and crazy features as a 61 or 71. So it's important to keep those in mind. The 41s through the 71s all support headsets. So, the 9811s really aren't necessarily designed for headsets. They may, and I should know off the top of my head if they can even support a headset at all. I'm going to have to double check that because I can't remember off the top of my head. But the key is if you really need a user that requires a headset, I would get them at least a 41 or better as far as the models go. All right. So that's kind of an overview on those models. I'm going to real quick talk about that wireless model, which fits numerically, it fits between the 9811 and 41. It's the 9821, but it is a totally different phone. It's a wireless phone. And I'm going to show a quick video on that to kind of give you an introduction of this new 9821, which I'm actually pretty excited about. I'll talk more about in just a second.
It's more than a phone. It's a lifeline for the front line. Introducing the Cisco Wireless Phone 9821. A lightweight powerhouse built for business calling with total reliability. Running on Wi-Fi 6E, it integrates seamlessly into existing communication workflows while offering the robust support options your business needs. Built for the shift, it's a shared device with shared lines and push-to-talk, fully IT managed for seamless deployment. And with a dedicated action button, safety is always one press away. Designed for on-site mobile workers in healthcare, manufacturing, retail, education, and more. The Cisco Wireless Phone 9821 is reliable, secure, connected.
All right. I'm not usually big on marketing videos, but Cisco did a pretty good job with that particular video, kind of giving you an overview of the phone. The 8821 wireless phone that Cisco released had some issues. And I had some customers that had some issues with those phones. I can't wait to get my hands on the 9821s because everything that I've read about it seems to have addressed some of the issues that the 8821s had. So I'm pretty excited about that. In general, there's just such a great use case for these phones in those manufacturing environments, factory environments. Think about those people that need a wireless handheld phone that is fully capable and can be ruggedized. It can be drop proof. It can get wet to an extent. Because it is, not fully waterproof, but it's definitely water resistant. It's got all the security features you need. It's got the AI capabilities from a voice audio perspective to make it louder so you can actually hear it because it's really loud in those manufacturing environments. These are the sorts of complaints that we get about wireless phones in those sorts of environments. The phone has to be tough as nails. It has to be rugged. It has to be able to take a beating, and it has to work. And so, that's all important for a good wireless phone in that sort of environment. What's cool about this 9821, as the video mentions, it's got the Wi-Fi 6E built in. It's designed for frontline mobile workers. It's designed for nurses and those, hospital workers and manufacturing environments and factories. I've beat that horse dead. I think you get the point. It's got that AI noise removal, push to talk, man down detection. It's got the alert button. So imagine if you're in one of those environments and you can hit the alert button because someone, you had an accident on the line or something. Those are the types of use cases with those action buttons. It's got swappable batteries, multi-device chargers. All right. So the 9800 series is designed to make sure that it offers desk phones for fixed and hybrid workers, but the 9821 for consistent transition on the go for those clinical warehousing, manufacturing, and retail staff. All right. So again, you want to have a consistent experience when they're at their desk and then they go to use a mobile phone. You want it to be very similar and in a compelling experience. All right. All right. Now let's wrap this up real quick. I've beat this horse dead, but I did want to show you physically a couple of these phones, a couple quick features. Okay. This is the 9841. 4 physical line keys, 2 on either side of the display. Okay. You've got the center navigation wheel to navigate. You've got the 4 keys below the display, and those are soft keys because they're software based and they change depending upon the call state you're in. So if on active call, those options will change. I know you can't see it real good, but if you're on active call, you'll see options to put the call on hold and things like that. If you're on hook, you'll see options for a new call and those sorts of things. So, those keys change depending upon the call state. The rest of the keys, frankly, is very similar to past Cisco phones. You still have the star key, favorites key, that's to call voicemail or any speed dials. You got the contact key to access the company directory or a personal directory that you configure on it. You've got the full keypad, numeric keypad. volume up and down to the left of the keypad, and then speakerphone, headset phone button, and mute button. Okay. On the back, on the side, you have a USB port for headsets. And then on the back of the phone, you have the switch Ethernet connection, your PC Ethernet connection, so you can sit it in line with the PC, and it's got an auxiliary RJ11 for headsets as well. Okay. So on the top of the phone, this is a cool, important to point out these features physically. There is a light on the top of the phone, the alert button right there. And then on the phone itself, there's this LED across the phone. All right. I want to show you how that kind of interacts when you call the phone. So I'm going to call from one of my other test phones. Like I said, I've got the 9841 in my left hand, and my right hand, I have a 9851. And then over to my left, I also have a 61. I'm going to call this phone. And you see a clear indication someone's calling. It's amber. The light's flashing amber. And when I answer it, it goes green. So those are helpful. All right. When we were talking about hot desking earlier too, that's also helpful, because in hot desk mode, if you see one of these phones sitting on a desk and it's green, that means that phone's available for you to go scan your QR code and log into that phone and make that phone yours. Okay. So that's really cool too. So this is the 9861. Okay. This is a top line Cisco phone. The only one above this is the 71, which is a touch screen. Okay. But this is the physical screen. You've got 5 physical buttons on either side of the display, supports up to 10 lines, the soft keys down at the bottom. You've got the navigation pad, and then you've got a couple icons here that's different on this phone that I want to talk about. You've got a calendar icon. If you click that, it actually shows you a calendar. And then the other icon on the right, you can't really tell it on the camera, is an NFC icon. That's only comes into play if you're setting up the phone using NFC. But that calendar icon is convenient because you can integrate your calendar with these devices, and it's pretty convenient because if you have a Webex meeting, for example, it will show up and you can join it from the calendar button, or any meeting you have, you can actually see from the physical phone too, so that you can dial into those meetings. It's pretty convenient to integrate your calendar. Just one of those other features about that unified mobile hybrid workforce that's helpful. Okay. Then of course I've got over to my right, the 9851. And so the 9851 is very similar to the 61, except it has 3 physical keys on either side of the display instead of 5. This supports up to 6 physical lines. This supports up to 10 physical lines. Like I said, the 9841 supports up to 4. And then the 9871, which I don't have with me, is the touch screen, can support up to 32 virtual lines. And then the 9821 is the mobile one. So and of course the 9811 is the entry level. So I just want to make sure I covered all of those. The 9811, 9821 wireless, 9841 4-line, 51 6-line, 61 10-line, 71 32 virtual lines. All right. Just wanted to make sure I covered that all and got all those talking points nailed. So a lot of reasons there. Obviously, Byteworks recommends the 9800 series. If you're migrating off of on-prem and going to the cloud, absolutely. You're going to have to probably migrate anyway, phones, especially if you have older ones. You'd have to go at least to the 8800s. Why not go to the latest, greatest 9800s, get that new OS experience, get that consistent experience across video and audio devices. You just can't beat it. All right. Not to mention all those other advantages that we talked about in this video. So I have waxed poetic quite a bit on these phones. I really do appreciate you joining today's collaboration video blog. Again, if you have any collaboration needs, whether it be cloud or on premises, or any IT infrastructure needs at all, and are looking for good engineers, that's what we do at Byteworks. We are an engineering consulting firm. We employ senior engineers in enterprise networking, data center, security, and collaboration, and we would be more than happy to help you with your IT infrastructure needs. And with that, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in next month for our April video blog. You know what? I'm going to give you a quick preview of what maybe our April blog is going to be, if not a video blog that's coming out very soon, and that is going to be AI agents. Okay. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration of that because I actually have set up our action button to call into Byteworks AI agent. All right. So when we press this action button, again, this action button is completely customizable and you can configure it to do anything. And there's a lot of great use cases where you'll want it to do something, very specific, either alerting emergency services or alerting building security or those sorts of scenarios. But in this case, what we've done, when you press it, it waits a second, gives you a few seconds to cancel if you need to.
Hello, thank you for calling Byteworks support. Are you experiencing a network issue or outage needing urgent support from our engineering team?
Yes, please. I have a network down. It's horrible. Nothing's working. How can you help me?
I am very sorry to hear that. I will transfer your call to our engineering team now. Does that sound good?
That sounds great, but can you tell me if a ticket's been created yet?
I understand you're looking for information on whether a ticket has been created. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
The network down issue?
I understand you are dealing with a network outage. I can transfer your call to our engineering team to assist you with that. Does that sound good?
That sounds great. Thank you.
I am transferring you now.
So I won't let it transfer me. I was actually trying to get it to, because what I could do, and I didn't ask it the right way, but I could have said, hey, I already have a ticket open. What's my ticket status? Here's my ticket number. And it would have done validation to make sure I'm not just some jokester calling in and playing pranks. But that is our AI agent that we built for our support line, and we're fine tuning it and working on it. And we will be rolling this out soon. And that is something that we are very passionate about, and that is agentic AI. That's part of these collaboration platforms and phone systems and contact centers and everything else nowadays, where you can have agentic AI handle a lot of things for you. So we're getting it to be that AI front door for our support so that you can call in and talk to someone right away about your network issue and get some sort of status. Like, you can build your AI agents to do a lot of things. This one is very dumb right now. We've got it basic, but we can have it configured to dip into ticketing systems, have it configured to dip into knowledge bases and answer a lot of easy questions. That's the point about AI agents. So we'll be having a future Collab video blog to talk more about those and demonstrate those, because we've got a lot of those that we're setting up right now for demonstration purposes. That will be our next exciting collaboration video blog. All right, so thanks again for joining today. I hope you enjoyed this blog on 9800 series phones. And again, if you need any technical support, please consider Byteworks for your technical infrastructure, engineering, and consulting needs. Thank you.